Hey, it's week 7, LaxRatz, LaxWrap. And this week the focus is on face-offs. Yes, those intermittent, possession-determining, game-changing contests of will, skill, and thrill. We'll break down which teams have them, which players do them, and Chief and Chopper will even butt heads over whether we should keep them. We've got Lindsay breaking down the girls' side, and a top 10 playlist that will keep you glued to your screen. So pull up a chair, wave your hands in the air, because there's no time to spare. It's LaxWrap. Hello again, Southern Section lacrosse fans. As always, Chopper here, Chief there, week 7 of the LaxWrap. Chief, let's get right to it. A couple key games last week we want to talk about, right?
Right, right now we're getting down to playoffs. We're getting down to seeding. So kind of know who 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 through 7 are, but a big game was Palisades, Sierra Canyon. Teams are vying for the 7 through 10 spot. We had Sierra Canyon up at around 7. We lost to Palisades. They were up most of the game. Senior night, momentum, Palisades came back and won that game. Okay,
so that kind of will help settle things. And this week, what's going on maybe on the 7 through 10 side?
Right, I think a team to watch this week will be Miracosta. They play Bosco and they play Sierra Canyon. So we haven't talked much about Costa, but only 3 losses. They get to play against Bosco, they get to play against Sierra Canyon. That's going to kind of narrow down who's 7 through 10.
Great for those teams because they get to determine their own fate, right? They can play it out. All right, how about in the grouping of the top 3? Big game last week, right?
Huge game, Loyola against Harvard Westlake.
Yeah, and so Loyola, we've already seen this season they've been up and down and really had to fight back. What about that game? Chief, Harvard Westlake was streaming that game, and you and Longman and I were all texting. We pretty much gave up on the Cubs after the first half, right?
Right, Harvard Westlake was feeling it, Loyola was figuring it out, but you can never count the Cubs out. Insane finish to the Mission League Championship. Loyola scored 4 goals in the final 3 minutes to win from coming from behind. Game-tying goal and game winner were scored 17 seconds apart. Loyola even lost the face-off, but Gaffney had an answer. Last play, block shot by Hawkins, ground ball, downfield dime by Kupek, and the goal by Garvey. All came down to the last minute. Mission League champs again.
And we'll be right back after this break to talk about face-offs and goalies. And welcome back. We're ready to talk about face-offs and goalies. So Chief, playoffs are just a couple weeks away. I know everybody's trying to assimilate the best attack they can. What do you think the keys are for teams in the playoffs?
I think it's pretty simple. Face-offs and goaltending.
Well, with that in mind, let's talk about face-offs first. Who would you pick as some of the top face-off guys?
Yeah, I think 3 kids have proven themselves to be the best. I like the kid from Westlake. He continues to get better. Jacob Martin. He wins it to himself. He runs through traffic. He hides his stick well, and he shoots high to low. Finishing it north and south towards the goal, he's tough to save. And you see Jacob Martin do that time after time after time.
Chief, by the way, we're going to get a look at your boy Martin on the top 10 plays, so we'll stick around for that. Speaking of sticking around, we were lucky enough to get Bosco coach Chris Jewett here. He happens to be one of the guys that has a great face-off guy, so I'm going to step aside for a minute. Let's get Chris in here to talk about a couple more face-off guys.
Chief here with good friend Chris Jewett. Welcome, Chris.
Thanks for having me.
11-0, probably 12-0 at this point. I lose count, 12-0.
Yeah.
We just played you. You guys had 25 extra possessions.
That's
How'd
true.
that happen?
I got Mitchie Myers winning 99% of face-offs. It's no secret. It's a huge advantage to win draws, and if you have a great face-off guy, you love it. If you don't, it keeps you up at night. But it's huge for us to have a guy like Mitch and winning face-offs. And not only does he win face-offs, but he can stay on and handle and shoot. which that gives you a 6-on-5 advantage all the time because you have a matchup. And if you look at just the history of LA Lacrosse, look at Loyola last few years, great team, great coaches, great players, but they had Aiden Hess winning 95% of his face-offs. So that's a huge advantage. And then prior to that, St. Margaret's had a guy winning 99%, was player of the year and led him to a championship. So there's no secret that face-offs are key.
What makes Mitch so good?
Oh man, he's got the mental game, he's got great hands, right? He just plays great situational lacrosse. He's a great person overall, great student. Yeah.
Right, I can speak. We played against Bosco. First one, just conceded it, got back in the hole, no transition. Second one, bring up a long stick, try to do something. Third one, pulls on the wings. What else have you seen from other teams?
We see everything, and you know, having a great face-off guy allows us to spend a lot of the time in practice on situational 6-on-6 lacrosse, and also different situations that come up during the draw, whether the team's trying to come in and beat on Mitch, whether they're just going to give up the face-off and break out. So we have different scenarios and situations that we go to when we see what's going on.
Right. Blessed to have him, and good luck all the way through.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, Chief, you know, it was nice of Chris to talk about his face-off guy, but you experienced, they won every face-off, right?
25 possessions.
So a little later in the show, we're going to talk about how much of an edge that is. But speaking of edges, anything else in the playoffs that'll give you an edge other than face-offs?
Right, face-offs, goaltending. So we talk face-offs, but then you have the combination of face-off, goaltending. And that's where I think you see why PV is, we talk why they're so dominant so many different ways, but their face-off kid, Cole Clinton, can win it to himself, can win it to his wings. He's dangerous in transition. He's so consistent. So you have him winning most of the draws. If he doesn't win the draw, you have probably the best goalie in LA, and that's Kyle McCann. McCann is the younger brother of D. McCann, who's at Duke. So again, we talk about these brothers, but Kyle is just a composed leader out there. He's got really quick hands. He's a student of the game. He lines himself up well to shots. He steps to the ball. He can clear the ball. I think probably the top goalie in LA. So face-off goaltending.
Snuffs rebounds as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, that's right. We saw that in that game, just controlling rebounds, which is so huge. So face-off goaltending.
So we've said all year McCann's as good as they get, but there's other goalies that are just about there, right?
Right, and goalies are game changers, so they're fun to watch. I like the kid from Agora, Zach Tripp. Plays a little bit unconventional, as to me it looks like he guesses a bit, but he anticipates, and he anticipates well. He knows where the shooter's going and tries to beat him to a spot. What he does above and beyond is that he clears the ball. He can run the ball. He can be a threat. I don't know if he scored this year. Definitely has scored last year. So Zach Tripp, athletic goalie, very fun to watch, a difference maker.
Chief, we've talked about a lot of good goalies. There's one more we haven't talked about, and it's Will Parducci of Loyola. I don't know about, you can talk about this year, but last year he practically won the Orange County LA Championship with a key save against St. Margaret's late in that game.
It was such a sweet save, just coming across his body, and he has the ability to do that. You see a lot of split saves from Parducci, his ability to get all the way across his body, getting down low. Things I like about Parducci, besides being composed, besides being experienced, he runs balls to the end line. He gets that team extra possessions. One of the fastest kids on the Loyola team. Kids running all over the place, scooping up ground balls, and clearly making saves. So he could be the difference.
Right. Well, Chief, let's cut away. Let's check in with Lindsay, see what things are going on the girls' side for this week. Lindsay?
Hey, Chopper and Chief. Thank you for passing the torch over to me. I'm currently on location at the SCLA girls' games. I oversee the Westlake Waves youth organization for both boys and girls. I'm just going to jump right into it, talking about the goalies. Obviously, best position on the field. Not biased or anything. But two goalies in particular I want to talk about are the goalies from Palos Verdes. Now, it's a very interesting position to be in. I was in it last season having two good goalies, and how do you manage it? With Aubrey Fixon and Lily Vankins, they're both juniors, and they've been splitting time most of their career. And this season, they've gone over a standard routine where Lily will play the first half, Aubrey will play the second half. And both are different in their styles. Aubrey's stance is a little bit wider, Lily's not so much, but both are able to make huge impacts on their teams. Now, they're also both tall, which might make you think they'll see a lot of low shots. They are all over it. I saw it firsthand. Unfortunate for us, but great for them. Lily came up with a lot of great interceptions as as well. And just I cannot say enough about how fast their hands are and how much of an impact their saves make on their team's performance and ultimately their momentum in games and their ability to come back as they almost did against us. But moving on, we're going to now talk about the draw controls. Now the girls' draw control is actually very different than the boys. So the boys are on the ground, there's two guys coming in from the sides. Girls, it's actually in a circle, so the players, there's two girls in each team, can be around the circle, any spot in the circle you want, and you can either, it's set up in the air, so you can push it or you can pull it to yourself, to a teammate, into space. When I was in college, we had signs to indicate where we were gonna put the draw so that our teammates knew where to set up. So it really is incredibly intricate as you move up the levels and what you can do to gain possession for your team, which is insanely vital. So first I'm going to start off talking about one of my players from Westlake High School, Claire Motes. She is a senior going to play at Davis next year. Unfortunately, she suffered an injury in our Newbury Park game and had to get surgery and is out for the rest of the season. So we've had to do a lot of readjusting to try to fill her spot. But Claire's reaction, her strength, her wrist strength specifically off the draw, and ability to use that to gain to push our fast breaks has been huge for our success before her injury, you know, especially against Newbury Park, who I'm going to talk about next. And it has been an insanely important part of our team in not only being able to score fast goals, but a huge momentum booster for our team for sure. The next girl I'm going to talk about is junior Erin Duffy from Newbury Park. Just in the last time we played against her, she won half of the draw controls herself, and she actually can push and pull, which is very interesting dynamic to see. She again has very quick reactions, a lot of strength, and that's why when we played each other it was an insane battle between her and Claire, and why it was such a close game from start to finish. So definitely keep your eye out on those players this season, and more to come. I'm very excited to see what the future holds. All right, back to you, Chopper in Chief.
Let's take a look at the top 10 plays of the week. Chief, of all the outstanding plays we've had, this week's maybe the best. I'm coming up with our top 10 plays here. Let's get right to it, all right?
Let's go.
Okay, at number 10, it's Newbury Park and White. They're going against Westlake, and watch as number 17 takes a return pass, spreads them out, and then rips this one nearly invisible. Goalie can only hear that one go by.
That was from deep, 20 yards out.
Coming in at number 9, Chief, we've all seen some creative billiard shots, but here comes Agura's girls team with some incredible bank action, followed by a lot of English, Lax ball corner pocket. Sierra Canyon's Will Francavilla is here to teach us a bit about perseverance. I get knocked down, but I get up again. And he nets this little beauty before eating another check, but no worries.
Rushed.
All right, number 7, and let's watch a tough pickup on the Penn High Tundra. And we see St. John's Bosco providing just how real they are. Anthony Carrera, 4 going the long shot for something closer in, and BTB.
That was sweet. Just a softening.
And we've got some nifty tricks coming in at number 6 here. It's Brentwood's team captain, Taj Pinkner, who's taking the long, long way home. But when he gets there, he nets this tough angle gem. There's just so little room for this one. And then, of course, the posse arrives. All right, we've talked about Agura freshman phenom Jake East. And here he is picking his way through the Oak Park defense, looking a lot like a choosy shopper, looking for just the right item. And then when he strikes, it's this tantalizing bouncer that the goalie just can't corral.
Again, the English.
Number 4, next up we've got Harvard Westlake facing it off with Chaminade. And after a brief chase here come the Wolverines. And watch number 5. He's going to reach for the high pass, pull it in, and then we're going to slow this down so you can watch him rip it in on the run and sneak the high cheese past the rat.
That's a snipe.
Instead of Jack of all trades, we'll call her a Jill of all trades. Watch the clean face-off win, the carry upfield, checking for open teammates, but they're all occupied, so I'll just do it myself this time, and bingo.
It's a nice play from the 10.
More face-off action here, and this time it's Chaminade's Owen Larson. And Chief, watch this kid change directions in traffic and stop and go. He leaves multiple Wolverines in his wake as he lets this one go and then feels the love from those teammates.
Gotta love the bounce shot, low to high. Bye.
Finally at number 1, we've all seen face-offs and we've seen hat tricks, but how often do you see both by one player in one game? Sit back and admire a master craftsman practicing his trade, because he's going to win 3 face-offs clean and score on each one. One of the top face-off guys here, Jacob Martin. And Hefe, this is a thing of beauty if you're coaching Westlake, but pretty hard to abide if you're Newbury Park.
Yeah, right to left to right, hiding a stick, changing levels. This kid has all the tools in his toolbox.
And the days of face-off and get-off are gone.
Face-off and scorer. Game changers right here.
So he's the winner of the trip to Costa Rica. We'll be in touch with him and his guardians or parents. Those are our top 10 plays, and a special thanks to our sponsor, 360 Splendor del Pacifico. You can find them at 360flamingo.com or info@360flamingo.com. Well, that's about a wrap for this week. Before we get out of here, I want to give special thanks to our contributor on the girls' side, Lindsay Munoz, to our executive producer, the long man down in Costa Rica, to our local producer, Lisa Allen. And also, I want to thank Chris Jewett for coming on the show and talking not only about his team, but about face-offs in general. We love getting a chance to talk to the various people in the community and get close to that. But what's coming up this week that we ought to keep an eye on?
This is the game this week for the 1 seed. You got PV Loyola, so that's the game to watch. Whoever gets that's the 1 seed, which is quite an advantage, because I think right now 1, 2, and 3 are a goal or 2 apart.
Not to mention, it's a statement. You know, if you win that game, you got to feel pretty good going into the playoffs, right?
Well, without a doubt.
That game is coming up on Tuesday. We're going to be there, so if you come out, we'd love to see you, hear from you, and just mingle a little bit. A reminder to check us out on social media. We don't need to name all of them, but please tag us and watch us, all right?
You also get a chance to watch Bosco Miracosta and Sierra Canyon Miracosta, also huge influencer games.
Yeah, we're getting right down to it, so if you're a lacrosse fan, get out and see some of these games, support these kids and these coaches. All right, well, for the Chief, this is the Chopper saying thanks for watching, and we will see you next time. Let's cut away now to those AAA plays to get you out of here.
That's good.